All right. All right. So give me a thumbs up in the Killer Wells channel, in the Killer Wells private channel here if you guys can hear me. Excellent. Excellent. Well, this today is 10/17/2022, Monday. Excellent morning, right? Green morning, green trades. Majority of the Discord green this morning. Excellent. I love to see that. Much of trading has to do with more than just skill, and it has to do with your mindset and how you approach the trade every single day. Now, today we're going to give you some goods and discuss a little bit about some things that can help you with your trading, right, and take you to the next level. Okay. And what it's going to do essentially is going to help you to develop the disciplines that you need in order to do this thing for the long haul, right? So today we've got LSG on the program with us today, and our topic is patience, grace, and accountability. LSG, are you there? If you are, we cannot hear you just yet. Mic check 1 2 1 2. LSG, are you there with us? Can anybody else hear LSG? Maybe I'm the only one. Okay. Okay, gotcha. Make sure you got your volume there, or make sure you're unmuted. Okay. Or you've tapped the speaker icon there.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, LSG. What's
Okay.
up?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
On the West Coast, it's morning time.
Nice. Nice. Well, everyone, did you know LSG was a lady? Beside besides the fact that she did change your profile pic. So, but
I
before
think
that,
that's why I changed my picture.
yeah, before that, well, I know you knew it, Fluff, but before that, folks were like, "What's up, bro? Great trade, bro. Yeah, bro." It was hilarious. I'm like, I don't think they know LSG is a lady.
I think that's because most discords tend to be heavily male.
You know what? You're right about that. I remember talking with Fluff when Fluff found the Discord because of the Wealth Wells, the name, and just the logo. She was like, "Oh God, this is going to be a huge bro fest,"
A bro fest.
and it wasn't. It wasn't. It turned out to be the coolest place on earth. So,
It's the exact opposite because that's exactly fluff how I would describe some of the others that I was in.
well, it's very important to me, to you guys, to everyone that it's not that. Where we're not about that. Oh, let's go Bulls, Bears, all that stuff. YOLO and profanity, derogatory speech, misleading comments. None of that stuff. It should be a safe place to get proper education and trade, and stick around for the long haul. So we appreciate having you on the program today, and this is a topic that really LSG selected this topic, and I thought it was very appropriate to discuss for today, 10/17/2022, for our Mindset Mondays: patience, grace, and accountability. So, let's just start out here and just kick it a little bit. These are off the cuff, very relaxed conversations here, but certainly we do have a flow and some things that we want to share with you. Let's start here. LSG, how long have you been involved in the market?
So in terms of, I've been investing just almost my whole adult life. So once I start working, I did, mutual funds and things like that. But outside of that, I didn't do anything else until 2020. So I learned about options and trading just right before the pandemic. And so we have a friend, and she's like one of these ladies. She's always got a hustle. She's
Hmm.
super smart, but she's always got a hustle. And she came to me with this idea. And at first, my husband was like, "Not me. I don't have time." And I said, "Well, let me see what she's talking about." And she did a little webinar, and I said, "Oh, okay. I think this might actually be something." And so she, was doing some training, and I did her training, and right away, it worked for a moment. But then I immediately, I'm a researcher and a learner, so I always start looking for more information because I just
Hmm.
felt there wasn't enough she gave. I needed to understand how and why things worked the way they did, and she kind of was just giving a lot of strategies, like when this happens, do this. So even then, as a beginner, it didn't sit right with me. I'm like, there has to be more than this. Like, what's the technical term? And so I started doing a lot of research myself. And so right before the pandemic, I think I started, and I remember, I think my first bad day was right the day I think we found out the first day the market tanked because I had like some contracts for Visa. And I remember I was at a conference and I checked my phone and I saw that everything had dropped. And I was like, what's going on? And that was my intro into the world of losses. I think that
What
might
a
have
way
been,
to get in. What
that
an
was like my
introduction.
first, that was like my first week. And so I think I had like one win and then that loss came. And so I think I learned quickly what market volatility is like.
Nice. My goodness. What an intro, right? That'll learn you. That'll learn you fast.
I
I'll
think
tell you
that's how
that.
my life has been. I kind of always get just thrown into the fire, even with work, and you figure it out, sink or swim.
Gotcha. Well, speaking about life, let's get to know you just a little bit. As much as you like to share, what's your background?
So my background's actually in education. So I've been almost 20 years in K-12 education. So I started as a teacher, and then I moved on to just work with teachers as an instructional coach, and then I was a vice principal for a couple years. I left that role to do consulting and work at our county level. I live in the second, actually the largest geographical county in California. So I did that for 3 years, and then I went back to be a principal for 4 years, just in time for the, just in time for the pandemic and for education to totally change.
Nice. Nice. All right. Very nice. Very nice. When you mentioned to me some time ago that you know, there were some things that you kind of took away here as far as productivity and the importance of saving and things like that. You want to share that you learned along the way a little bit?
Oh, for sure. You're talking about my financial background, just kind of what I've learned
Yeah.
about.
Hmm.
So I didn't learn, my background. I come from a pretty working class family, and as far as what I learned about money, we learned about saving, and so I knew that was important, budgeting. But just about everything I've learned beyond that, my husband and I figured out together. We got married early, about 25, and so we started our careers around the same time, a couple years, so around the same time. And pretty much what I learned is through having we always talk about having friends that are smarter than you or know more than you.
Hmm.
It's been, through having friends, through reading, and just understanding the importance of finance and the importance of credit, the importance of having life insurance. And so we've done all those things. I think trading and investing at a deeper level was kind of the final frontier for us. And so I kind of jumped into this, and I've been dragging my husband along the whole time.
Very nice, and he appreciates it.
He
I know.
appreciates it.
I know he's a excellent coach and excellent support system for you. Very
He
nice. Very
listens. He
nice.
listens to me. I think we shared before. I think that's a key factor. He doesn't always know what I'm doing, so I try to explain, things to him, and he listens. But
Mm.
I try to share my losses as well. I think when I first started, it was easy to sell the wins, to share the wins, and then I realized I don't like so much sharing when I lose. Uh, but it helps. We'll talk a little more today, but it helps me stay accountable when I know I have to share my progress with someone. This is our money. He's trusting me to learn this skill, and I'm actually home right now doing this full time. So it's important to me that I let him know my progress, good and bad.
Yeah, and you need a support system for sure.
Yeah,
You
for
need a
sure.
support system. You need community. It's essential. Absolutely. Well, let me ask you this. You know, what's something that you would want people to know about you?
You- Man, I think for me, just purpose, and service guide my life. Katie and I had a talk last week. I had a one-on-one. Just a lot has been changing in my life, and especially with regards to work. And I'm okay. The jobs don't matter as much to me as much as it means for me to feel like I'm serving purpose, and that's to help people. And so, even though I'm not in my role right now, I love being a part of this Discord and helping people. So, whatever my job title is doesn't really matter as long as I find a way to help people. I don't really know how to be another way. And then I'm also super competitive. That I love a good challenge. But I've realized, we talk about your real self will show up in trading.
Oh yeah.
That competitive piece, that's got me a few times, with regards to not wanting to lose
Hmm.
and not letting go of losers
Hmm.
quickly enough. And so I've been, having to manage that and learn to be more disciplined and realize you're gonna take the loss. Don't
Yeah.
keep holding on and making it a bigger loss. But I don't like to lose. And so that's something that I've been working on in my
Hmm.
trading personally.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting how the personality of a person, their background, their mindset, all of that affects the decision making process when entering and exiting trades. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, it is very interesting. So
Yeah.
I love, this is, I was saying, I was talking about purpose and service. So even when I got into this, I saw the potential to make money and make profit and have financial freedom. But I think more important to me was just realizing, like, oh, this is a skill set. Like, one, I wish I had learned sooner, but that so many other people could benefit from. And so even as I was embarking upon this journey for myself, I was immediately thinking of ways that I could use this to help other people. Or, the profits are great, but I'm not big on stuff. Experiences are important, but our, for our family, services is a way of life. And so I think about what are other things that, we already do that we'll be able to do more now or do better with money. So the money, it's nice, but it's definitely, I'm more concerned about what we can do with money, not just
Hmm.
having.
Yep. I agree. I agree. And that's a more purpose driven life. And I can that for me personally, to echo your thoughts, that's a big reason why I started the Discord, poured my heart into the Discord, because we don't have to do this, right? I could just sit here and trade,
Mhm.
right? But the beauty of helping folks to see folks grow, oh man, especially when some of you guys make your statements about the progress, oh man, it hits different, it really does. Um, so let's talk about the market and your what's helped you to improve. When you think about your journey so far, what has helped you to improve in the market?
You,
Oh, all right. Thank you.
your your training, your coaching, your mentoring, this Discord. I knew right away. You just talked about, your purpose. I felt that right away when I joined. I don't even think I was in a few days. I saw your videos. I found your videos because I was already looking to do something different. I wanted to narrow my focus and I wanted something that actually worked. And so I had been doing some reading and then I came across your videos. And when I joined the Discord, like I knew within a couple of days, I was like, oh, this is different. And the energy and the vibe of the Discord was different. So I signed up. I took trainings right away. I think I joined like first or second week of February, and then I had my first training scheduled February 14th, and I finished by March.
Yeah,
Like I
you
just
did.
went through because I
you,
didn't know. I said I know this is good, and I don't know if he's going to be
you
around.
thought I was gonna
Nope.
die. You booked all the training. I'm like, who is this person? Like, what in the world? I plan on living. Right.
Like I got to learn before this goes away or the prices skyrocket because I could tell the value. I knew the value. Like I'd been with in discords where people are doing call outs and I paid for so much training already. And it wasn't all bad, but what I saw was it wasn't working for this current market. And I think that's why I started searching again and I was getting frustrated. I said all these things that, people were teaching in this bull market or with all the volatility from the pandemic, anybody could trade, right? And I didn't realize that at the time because I didn't know enough, but I knew enough. I had lost enough money and took enough training to realize when I found this Discord and knew I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing. And so I would definitely say the training, the coaching, and the mentoring. I didn't hesitate when you talked about starting Killer Wells. I plan on being here until you decide to not do this anymore. So I would say definitely the coaching, the training, the mentoring, but the screen time as well, being able to practice the VVP system in real time. looking at
Mhm.
the market every day, whether I'm taking the trade or not.
Mhm.
That's really been instrumental.
Nice. Yeah, professionals all have coaches. We all do. In fact, there are trading coaches and professionals that come in to help prop firms, trading firms. So it's not uncommon. It's not a secret to get development. But the retail trader, a lot of times, they don't know that, or like you said, there's a lot of noise out there. So it prevents rapid growth. It prevents the development of sustainable best practices when you don't have that environment of coaching and development. So yeah, for sure. I appreciate that. It's nice to know that we're having an impact on trading and of everyone in the Discord. But since you talked about the things that the Discord has been helping, let's talk about some successes. Let's talk about some of your trading successes. You can also talk about anything that surrounds that. But what specifically? I know you were on a trade plan before. Can you talk a little bit about the results of that and kind of your successes?
So I was in a trade plan back in May. First, let me just say I really appreciate this Discord. I talked about, how much I've learned from KD, but just from the group as well. I'm an
Hmm.
introvert, so I don't even talk. Like I don't even interact in the Discords that I've been in before. This is the first time I've even interacted. Um, and so I usually try to handle things myself. And I think I had a bad week in May and I was just frustrated. And I actually shared. Usually I would keep that to myself and try to figure it out. And I shared that day in the Discord, and Katie, he got us on a Zoom and he put me on a trade plan. And my plan was I couldn't take a trade before 8 a.m. And so
West
we
Coast
did
time.
West Coast time. So that's 11 for you East Coast people. So 8 a.m. Western time. And what it did was it made me slow down. And I think that's what I needed to do. I was probably a little too hyper aggressive in my trading. And so it made me slow down, and then it gave me a chance to let the market settle out and have a clearer direction, have a clearer idea of where we were going in terms of direction and what market sentiment was. Um, I did that for a month. Okay, Katie, I don't even remember my stats anymore. But I went from having, I know my percentage went up to over, I'm like 75% when I'm off, but when I'm really dialed in, I would say probably anywhere between 80, 85, 90%. And so I saw my number of green days go up, my number of green weeks go up. When he put me on that plan, I also took money out of my account. Well, I moved it over. And so I also started that trading plan with a smaller account so that I could help, develop discipline in myself, not over trading and not doing more than I needed to do. So I really honed in on taking better trades and then also using the DAC because I wasn't doing that before. And that's what got me in a situation where I had big losses. And so I
Mhm.
made up my losses quickly. That account, I was able to grow quickly. I've actually done it a couple times
Mm.
since, and I grew my account. I'm actually back to margin, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I've had some recent developments where I just wasn't happy with my execution. And so
Mm.
even though like I grew my account and I'm still having green days and green weeks, I had some things that shifted my mindset. And I haven't for I would say the last month, I have not been happy with my execution. So I'm starting over small again, and I'm on another plan.
Nice. Even though you're having green days and seeing some success, you're not happy with the level of success you have, and
I'm
you
not.
can do better.
I know I can, and the journal helps because I've been using the journal, so that's helping me have more metrics. Um,
Mm.
KD, I don't know if it was maybe a couple weeks ago, a month ago, he did the SWOT activity with us, strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities. And so I knew I was having some issues. And then TOS is just, oh, it's been a mess for me. I've had quite a few issues just even with my computer and the system. And so that wasn't helping at all. But I said, okay, I can figure this out. I did that SWOT activity again because I had already signed up for a one-on-one with KD, and I was like, let me really get a hold on what my issue is. And I realized that my mindset shifted. There's some things in my personal life with work I've shared with some of you guys before, so it's not a secret. I'm not working right now. I have some long-term COVID issues that I'm still dealing with, so I'm actually on a medical leave, but there were some things, some finality that happened. And so even though I'm still working, I gave up my role. It's hard to be away. I'm a middle school principal. It's hard to be away from your school for an undetermined amount of time. And so my position was filled. And I think the reality of knowing like I can't go back to my school and I can't go back to my staff and my kids who I love very much, it just hit me in a way. The reality of it hit me. And so that kind of
Mm.
impacted my mindset. And because
Mm.
of that, I started thinking about money, which I hadn't been doing. I had solely been focusing on execution, but I started thinking about the money again. And then fear crept in. And then it was making me doubt my trading abilities. Even though I have been doing well, it made me doubt myself. And so then
Mm.
through my journal, when I went back to do the SWOT activity, I realized I started anticipating trades. I was trying to catch tops and bottoms. So even though it would work out and I'd still come out green, like I knew that wasn't good trading
Mhm, and you knew it wasn't sustainable.
and it
Act
wasn't
act
sustainable. I
Mhm,
was not being disciplined. I wasn't doing what I had been taught.
mhm. Very nice, very nice. That's the mark. I was talking about that earlier with, Paul. That's one of the marks of a developed and good trader is to be able to self-correct. So excellent job, excellent job. Well, I know you talked a little bit about your challenges there, and you talked about some of the health concerns, some of the job, and things like that. But you said something interesting that you worked your way back up to a margin, and even though you had the ability to trade margin, you still move money out of that to kind of reduce yourself, so that you're forced to trade within your parameters or according to your trade plan. Can you talk just a little bit about that? Like, why did you do that?
So I thought I was doing well before, and I actually put the money back and I said, you know what, I think I'm ready to start scaling. So I was actually going to do my one-on-one with you about that because I wanted to make sure I was going about that process quickly because I've been real strategic to not use a whole lot of money because I've lost a lot before. And so I just wanted to be
Mhm.
really strategic about getting the system down so that when I was ready to scale up, like I wanted to do it with automaticity. And I felt like I was getting there. So when I realized that I was not, my execution was off, I said, I got to go back. If money is causing me, if fear is creeping into my mindset and causing me to make mistakes or not execute as well as I know that I can, like I need to go small again because I know I can do it. I've done it several times already. So I know I can take a small account and grow it. And so I said,
Mhm.
if I'm going to focus on execution again, I don't want to be worried about the money. And with margin, I'm like, okay, I got to stay above this amount, and I don't
Mhm.
want the stress of that right now. So I
Yeah.
put the money aside. So now the it's not stressing me anymore. I'm back to focusing on execution. And since I've done that, I started my new trade plan last week, and I've already been good.
Very nice. Now, there's one thing I took away from that. If everything you just said, you know what I took away?
What's that?
Automaticity. Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
Automaticity.
Very nice. Automatic. Yeah, with a clear of mind, right? Without any type of mental blocks and just robotically, in fact. So very nice. I agree with that. You respond to your disciplines, you respond to your patterns and your habits, and you trade. And
I've
that
been
is
cutting
really
those
where.
losers too, KD.
Say what?
I've been cutting those losers too. You said something
Hmm.
to me. That loss is the cost of a bad entry.
Hmm. It
You
is.
said that to me last week, and that just it made sense to me. Like I just got to take my lumps. If I didn't get in at a good time,
Hmm.
I'm gonna just take that loss, and it's actually been helping. So I've had a few more losses than usual because sometimes I'll hold and it'll go back. It usually does what I think it will do, but now just it's not worth the risk because it just
Hmm.
takes that one time where
Yeah.
we have a huge $10 candle, and now I'm down because I didn't adhere to my rules, and so I'm really trying to get back to cutting, not worrying about the loss, and just getting back to execution, flawless execution, good entries.
Isn't that interesting how we could have an incredible win, but that loss just sticks with us? Isn't that interesting?
They always. And so,
So.
but you said too, I got to start feeling about my losses the way I do about my wins. And I
Mhm.
think I took one last week. I got out, and I just said, okay, I'm glad I got out because then after that we had it tanked, and I
Done.
just said thank you for my stop loss. I'm
Mhm.
grateful I had it, and then I moved on.
Yes, yes, and so that's very key. what we talked about with losses. You know, you have to fall in love with the ability with the ability to cut them and to move on. Because as we talked about in your one-on-one, I'll share this with the public here too. You know, the loss typically, not every time. Sometimes the market does do things weird. Sometimes it just, disjointed. But typically, when you take a loss and that drawdown is significant, the reality is it's the result. It's the it's on the backside of a bad entry. So
Mhm.
it's the penalty. That loss is just the penalty. Now here's what traders will do. They'll average down and they'll compound the penalty.
Oh,
Now,
yeah, I've
the
done
the
that.
sad part about it is it'll work out like a few times. 20% of the time it'll work out. 30% of the time it'll work out. But it's the remaining times where it's such a huge loss because now your position is you're oversized, and then it just wallops the person. And then of course you're focusing on those losses more than those wins, and it brings the trader down, affects their confidence, it affects their ability to read the market. And the best thing is set your parameters in harmony with our 90-day trading journal, as we've talked about, and just cut it. Just cut it.
Yes.
It's
Can
just
I
a
talk
penalty.
about the journal too, Katie?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I'm probably not using it 100% correctly. I didn't get all my notes when you were talking about it, so I've just been figuring out as I go.
Mhm.
But the journal is really helping me hone in. I take notes, so every time I enter a trade, I talk about why I entered the trade in that section. But in that notes section for each trade, like I document like what's going on in the trade, like how fast it went into profit. Um, if I get stopped out, if I stop out too early, because that's also something I'm working on, not having my stops too tight. Like I look at how long did it take? I count the minutes. So when I got out, how much longer did it take for it to actually hit the target, and how much money did I lose because I didn't wait?
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
helping me realize, and it makes it more concrete for me, what's happening when I don't wait for my price target. Or if I do get out, I track, well, how much would I have lost if I held this trade. And so it's
Mhm.
kind of helping it be more concrete for me. And I look at, how am I feeling in this trade? Did I get a good entry? Did I have to sit through a little chop? So all those things are helping me focus a little bit more just on my trading too. But everything else, I mean, the journal is phenomenal. Before I kind of would just track my wins and losses, how much, and that was definitely not helpful. This is showing
Mhm.
me it just gives me way more information about how I'm trading.
Yeah. And so the next level to this for those who are listening and those who have the trading journal and yourself, LSG, the trading journal, the byproduct of that is to help you visibly see what your trade identity really is. See, we
Yes.
all think we're one way or the other. The reality is some are better than what they think. They just got like a few things that they need to correct. Others aren't nearly as good as they think. But what gets measured gets improved. Numbers don't lie. So when you don't know what to track properly, it'll build your trade identity, and then you can address and change and adjust. But you mentioned something earlier in harmony with the trading journal. We talked a little bit about training. Just overall, how has the training helped you?
The training has been phenomenal. Your train What's different about your training and what I've experienced with others is it's comprehensive. So it's comprehensive, but it's also not based on any lagging indicators or patterns. And that's what a lot of people are out there doing. It actually upsets me now when I think about how many people are learning to trade in ways that are probably dangerous,
Hmm.
and that's going to cost them their accounts. And so I really just appreciate, it's simple but not easy. So you've simplified this process. Um, that doesn't mean it's easy, because we're still the variable.
Hmm.
The actual
Yeah.
trader is the variable. The system is solid. The system is solid for sure. And so I appreciate not having to look at 15 different indicators and wait for confluence and identify patterns, because I was never good at that. I'm like, where do
Yeah.
you see a cup and handle? Like, I don't even see the slide you're talking about. Where is that?
Indeed, indeed.
And so, I mostly did swing trading before, and some of those things may work a little bit better for swing trading, but for day
Mhm.
trading, Nah, it doesn't
Yeah.
work. So just
Yeah.
learning how to read price action and um, even the pre-market routine. I didn't know before, like I would enter trades and then just be amazed when there was a huge swing. And I'm in Discords and everyone acts surprised. And now I'm like, oh well, because FOMC came out that
Yeah,
day.
we
I
talked
had
about
no idea
that. Right.
what that
Right.
stuff even was. So I wasn't really paying attention to catalysts outside of earnings, right? Or
Mhm.
things like that. And so just even the pre-market routine and how to identify market sentiment, like just understanding where the market is going, learning how to read the market, price action, and then just the importance of volume. Like
Yeah.
none of those were things I was focused on before. And so I had to start finding out some of those things were important. That's kind of what led me to Wealth Wells. I was looking at the importance of volume. I come across some stuff on supply and demand trading. And so I was specifically looking for volume. And then also I knew I wanted to just focus on one ticker and I wanted that to be SPY. And that's how I came across Wealth Wells.
Nice. Nice. Now you said something interesting to me. You, you talked about trading other tickers. And you guys know I don't like to cheat on SPY, but for sure we trade all kind of other tickers, right? So what else were you trading, and what kind of success were you having?
Before I was trading everything, mostly the top. The same things we look at now, like the top 10 in SPY for the most part, but just looking for, things, scanning stocks. It's just a lot of work trying to look for something that might have momentum. So now SPY, I have tried SPX. I am not there yet. I think once my mindset is right, I'll dabble with. I have a little side account I was using with SPX. It's going to be on hold for now. Uh, but Tesla, I traded Tesla a few times last week.
Oh boy,
Artrice
Tesla.
let me, I know Artrice let me borrow her man for a little bit.
Yeah.
But
You
just nice.
guys.
I think it was just a day. I was like, SPY feels dead today.
Hmm.
And I said, let me look at some of my other tickers and see what's going on. And
Hmm.
so I only say that to say, because I've made a commitment to focus on SPY until I get really good and automatic with my execution. But I just wanted to try, and what Katie's teaching us works on any ticker. And I know some of
Any
you
ticker.
already trade other stuff, and so you already know that. But
Hmm.
it works on everything. I'm excited to try futures next, since
Nice.
I'm up when everyone else is. I don't know how you guys sleep.
Well, it's the excitement. I didn't expect somebody was up even later than me. I'm like, man, what's going on here? But hey, that just means we got something good, you know. Now you did talk about, I love the statement you made about you have a skill that can't be taken away, and
Yes,
that will only grow when you learn how to trade the right way. And man,
yes.
I couldn't agree with that more.
That's why the losses ultimately don't bother me so much. I know, I understand this is going to be a process. And I think that's where the patience and the grace comes in. So a lot of you guys, you message me on the side. We talk about it in the channels, but you have to, it requires patience. And I think Fluff talked about this too when she was on. Like, I don't know where we get this idea that it's not okay for us to fail or to not be good right away.
Hmm.
And so I think we really have to have patience and give ourselves grace as we're learning, because this takes time. We will have losses. We will mess up, right? But this is a skill that I know I plan to be using forever. So
Hmm.
this is only a small period in time. This skill set's only going to continue to grow, because I know that I'm committed to ensuring that it does. So that patience and grace are key. But then that accountability is also important. Whenever I lose, I know it's because I did something I'm not supposed to do.
Hmm. And you just take it
Often,
and
I mean,
roll on.
sometimes you can just, yeah, sometimes I'm just wrong, and then I'm wrong, and I move on. But when I'm when I know I'm wrong, but I don't get out of that trade, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me being my own barrier.
Hmm. And it's nice to know that you're continuing to progress and your days are green. You know, would you ever have thought that you would be able to come out of every day green, or every week green, or
I,
every
I
month
knew
green?
I knew it was possible watching you, and even like you just said that, and it made me think I'm never good at like focusing on my small successes, because I'm always thinking like about the big picture. So even when you
Hmm.
ask me about my successes, I think I probably don't even think about that. that much,
Mhm.
but I'm looking and like my accuracy rate, I don't even know if I was 50% before. That might be me giving myself too much. Whatever I was doing before, it just was not consistent. And I feel now, like I feel like I got this. Like I know I still have a lot of room to grow, and I haven't focused on the money just yet. I'll get to my 5-figure days, but I'm not worried about that right now. Right now, I really want to learn how to execute and just be surgical and like a sniper with this stuff.
Absolutely. It's the best feeling. Well, listen, let's get some suggestions from you. You know, you've certainly made some progress. We're happy to have you in the Discord. You certainly add value. And I've literally seen your trading and your mindset continue to grow through challenges and all many challenges in life and then just as a trader. And so it's a beautiful thing to see it. So give us some suggestions for new traders. What would you tell new traders?
I think for new traders, get the training. I know people want to jump in and start trading right away and making money. And I would just say get the training. That's going to be money well spent. 'Cause then you'll understand why Katie's calling out what he's calling out and other members of the Discord. And if you can join Killer Whales, um, I know I spent a lot of money on stuff that's not important. But if I had to cut, I can tell you Killer Whales is not going to be one of those things. So that's gonna stay. And then just put your focus here. I think sometimes people still want to try other things, and you've said it before. Maybe the Discord is not for everyone, but I think if you really focus on what KD is teaching and what everyone in the Discord is practicing, you're gonna get more bang for your buck that way. So commit to learning and implementing the system. Focus on execution over profits even when you hear everyone else talking about theirs, because I think that happens sometimes when you're in a group and you see people winning, you see people making that money. You got to make sure that your journey is your own.
Hmm.
So focus on the execution first, and probably stick with SPY until you gain some consistency.
Yeah. And so a lot of times people, just to add to that, LSG, a lot of times people, because they haven't been through the training and maybe they don't understand the market and then just understand trading in general, they don't understand why I focus on SPY.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who are listening to this, yeah, obviously you can scroll up in any channel in the general channel. You can see other traders. We've got different channels for different. Obviously, I trade other things. Obviously, right? There's swings out there, and the like. And obviously, when things are rolling, I've posted all small caps. I'm trading those. So yes, I trade. But why? Why? The idea here is to understand the fundamentals so that you can trade anything. And the reality is, if you understand the S&P, if you can really become a beast at the S&P, all of your favorite stocks are in there anyway.
Yeah.
They're in
Every
there anyway. So a lot of times when folks come into the Discord and they're like, well, why don't you just trade this? Or just, I know, number one, they haven't been through training. Number two, typically they're just a general trader, because even a lot of your better traders that are on Wall Street or others, yes, they're going to meet up in the morning a lot of times and talk about stocks and play, but they do have their babies. You got guys trading gold, they like gold. Guys trading oil, they like oil. Guys trading energy, they like energy. Some trading SPX and SPY and the futures, they like it in different. So you do have leanings, but when you're trading, you have to understand the fabric of the market. And there's no better way than to trade the S&P. You got three components immediately that you can trade. You can trade the ETF, you can trade the index, or you can trade the futures.
mm-hmm.
Then on top of that, you've got all these sub tickers that you can trade that are the big boys out there anyway. But if you know, are always scouring and trying to rush, okay, who's got the play? You see a lot of the discords and a lot of people when they do their weekly preps, they're scanning 50 stocks. Okay, if I see this and they're just drawing triangles. If I see this with this, I'm gonna take it. And it's like, that's why your win percentage is 50%,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't understand the fabric. And so that's what we wish to promote and teach. And I appreciate you saying that. It's not that you can't trade it, you can. but just get the foundational element and do it 2 to 4, 3 to 5 years while you're trading others. That's fine too. I know we got some Tesla lovers, and I certainly traded as well. Um, but you got to get the fundamentals. Now, what about experienced traders then? So folks who've been in the market for some years, what would you say to them?
Don't get cocky.
Yeah.
Remain disciplined in using the system, because I think it's easy when you start going on these winning streaks.
Hmm.
You think you're going to stay winning, and sometimes you start to loosen up your discipline a little bit. Maybe you're not as tight with VVP, with using the system. The DAC, maybe you're not adhering to your stop loss rules, or you're not cutting losers.
Hmm.
Because we start puffing up our chest a little bit. But a big loss or change in circumstance can be right around the corner.
Hmm. It
And
can.
so I would just say, just know that's always there. So stay disciplined. And then I would say too, and this is, I guess, for everyone, ask for help when you need it. This is a very helpful Discord. And I think a lot of people reach out when they need something. I know, to myself, to the other moderators, to KD, ask for help. My mother used to always say, closed mouths don't get fed.
Mm-mm.
Right. And you don't want to suffer in silence. We're all here to help. We're all learning and growing together. And so um, ask if you need help, and then share with the group. I think not
Hmm.
just your wins, but your struggles. I think I was sharing with somebody. Somebody messaged me last week, and I almost had a meltdown one day. I think I had one more issue with TOS, and I was ready to throw something at my
Yeah, you
computer.
were struggling for a little while with TOS and your
I have
charts and
been I have been on the phone. All my charts were lost. I had to redo everything. I've been on the phone so much with TOS, and they have great customer service. And there are some things, I don't have a tech background, so I can't even explain all the stuff they were doing. It's better right now, but I just had a day where I was ready to cry, to throw something. I stopped trading. I didn't trade anymore that day, but I was just having a moment, and I was sharing that with somebody in the group. And then I just gave myself a moment. I stopped trading for that day because my mindset wasn't right. And then I took a
Mm,
breather. And then I came back the next day and did it all again. So it's, just share the challenges as well as the successes. And then always, and it's for everybody, that focus on mindset is everything. Katie, I know you say it all the time. I've read so many books on trading, and I've taken classes. It's really mindset, because we're our own worst enemies sometimes.
mhm,
And fear and greed are strong motivators, and they
mhm.
will cause you to do all sorts of things that will hurt you. So that mindset and the environment piece, sometimes we just have to step away.
Yeah. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. That's why we have this Mindset Mondays discussion, sharing best practices, touching on tips and tricks that can help the trader become even better and go to the next level. So as we wrap up here, our theme, patience, grace, and accountability. If you could give me just a one liner on each one of those, a takeaway, what would be the takeaway that you could share with us about patience, about grace and accountability for trading?
So patience, it's going to take time to master this. Give yourself the time and the space to learn. Give yourself grace when you make mistakes, because you will. And then accountability is get the training and be disciplined. Do what we're learning to do. Don't keep doing the same mistakes and then thinking it's something else.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Couldn't agree with you more. I would add to that the patient side. Pardon me. The patient side. Um, some people just may not come from a background or an environment where they're used to that. Just being patient. So it's going to take you a little time to get that. And therein lies, like you mentioned, the grace. Give yourself a little leeway. And
Mm.
and don't one thing I see with a lot of traders is, man, they're so down when they take losses, but they don't really analyze and congratulate themselves for the wins. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a lot of money or a big percentage. It could just be a series of good trades. That's an accomplishment. And you should notate that and really pick it apart. How did I do this? What
Yeah.
caused me to go on this rip? How long were my holds? What's my average position size? How long was the trade and where did all that stuff. What did I feel? That's only going to improve you, right? And then that'll also build confidence to allow yourself to be forgiving and give yourself a little grace when you do take a loss. Like, okay, I'm just kind of getting this thing here. And then the accountability, I couldn't agree more. Plugging into a system, I feel is a huge factor in accountability. Having a community or a trading journal or something hold you accountable until you get to that robot status, you know. So listen, it was a pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure. We're going to get back to trading the market. Anything else you'd like to add?
Just that, I don't even know all you guys personally, and I haven't seen you yet, but we're family. That's how I consider this group. And so we're going to continue to learn and grow together. And I'm excited to see where we're all going to be a few years from now.
Oh, it's going to be glorious. As I've said this many times in the beginning, I'll say it again. The goal here is to pull 50 people and help them grow to six figures. First, we'll start monthly, then we'll start weekly. That's the goal. That group will come from the Killer Wells. There's a few that have already are inside of that bucket from this group here, and that are already crushing it. That we're proud of. And so the goal is 50. Now, of course, to get there, it sounds tricky, but you can't focus on the money, right? But what we are proud of is that if you notice, if you're paying attention, every month, a few folks are now hitting the first milestone of five figures in a day.
That's
And
great.
then some are repeating that. And that's admirable. But what we get excited about is just the consistency of discipline, practices, processes, and you continue to demonstrate that trade discipline. So yeah, I'm excited about the future as well, and then just where we're going to be in the years to come. All right, guys, we're going to get back to trading here. I appreciate you guys spending some time with us. Hopefully, this was helpful for you. Patience, grace, and accountability. We want to thank LSG. Everything that you do and your presence in the Discord is much appreciated, guys. And I will holler at you later. LSG and KDW signing out.
Have a great day, guys.
Bye.